Great review, Rick. Okay, okay. I do need to chill with these voiceover reviews, to be fair. I don't want to just be a B-Tech Rick the Liar. I'm selling my Mac, okay? I'm selling my Mac. The Mac that I use to make these videos on, the ones where I'm actually on screen, yeah, I'm selling it. And all I can do right now is these reviews. So please fucking excuse me if I'm sorry. Hey, Rick, let me know if I'm biting you a little too much at any given moment, please. I ain't trying to copy you. You're doing your thing. I'm trying to make it as individual as I can, but literally this is the only conceivable way I can upload a quality review in my eyes at this current point in time. But yeah, whatever, let's talk about Thom Yorke. Thom Yorke back, baby, doing the solo shit. Following up his other two solo projects, The Eraser and Tomorrow's Modern Boxing. He's the lead singer of the band Radiohead. You may have heard of him. You might have heard of him. Thom Yorke tends to lean a little bit more on the electronic side. Not that Radiohead have never toyed with electronics before, they absolutely have, of course. But that element is just emphasized even more on his solo work, and Tom's vocal style, his very pained falsetto, has always sounded quite isolated and detached to me, so the kind of dreamlike, synth-driven production on this new project I think lends perfectly to Tom's strength. Anima, in my opinion, excels at feeling otherworldly. A lot of this project sounds like aimless wandering through some unknown territory, as if Tom is just kind of floating through some dream fucking world, just confused as to how he's supposed to go about navigating it. This thing feels dystopian and daunting, like for example how the song Twist puts this like fragile guitar alongside these really ghostly synths and the way they kind of just flutter upwards with these vocal stutters and shit. It just makes the track feel like you're locked into some weird lucid dream where the more you explore it and the more things enter the mix, the more vast and vivid this dream becomes. When that piano drops in at like 3 minutes 50, it sounds like the musical equivalent of Discovering You Can Fly. Not the news as well, Jesus. Fire fucking song. Fire fucking song. One of the best fucking songs this year, bro. The song is driven by what sound like sonar blips, and they just kind of lull me into this complete trance, and the lyrics kind of paint this picture of someone trying to live in a world that they just simply cannot understand. I found a lot of the lyrics on this thing pretty relatable, actually. I actually kind of compare the way he writes on this thing to the way Yves Tumor was writing on his last project, Safe in the Hands of Love. Like on that project, the lyrics are kind of broad, they're kind of vague, and you could see them as a bit aimless, but they're really good at sort of expressing a general idea or sentiment. And the music on display is there to act sort of as a vehicle to kind of propel that statement into something more transcendent and evocative. And that's exactly what Tom does for me on this thing. Dawn Chorus is another total clear winner on this thing. The stripped back vulnerability of this track gives Tom this added layer of humanity amongst this really sparse instrumental that kind of sounds like it comes from some weird alien digital dystopian world, much like the rest of the album does. The lyrics are gorgeous on this song. He is sort of kind of lamenting over the concept of having a second chance, to kind of try it all again, and the kind of defeated tone of his voice. He sounds like he's finally realized what it is he's felt like he's been missing for years. His writing is really poetic, and I just kind of love the way he frames this idea on this track. And I actually found the song I Am a Very Rude Person to be crushingly relatable. I kind of see this song sort of as like a homage to times to where like you're so unhealthily obsessed with some kind of creative endeavor to the point where you kind of end up pushing people away, and you might be seen as a bit rude for doing so. The line where he says he has to destroy in order to create, I think hits it home perfectly. Like in order for him to flourish as a creative person, he has to kind of hurt those around him in a sense. This like world he's built with fucking Anima, with that 15-minute short film, with the weird advertisements for dream cameras. I'm interpreting Anima as sort of how Tom sees the world. Like to him, the world is some dystopian sci-fi technology-fueled landscape that he just can't really function in, and he'd just give it anything for some kind of understanding or luxury. The track Not the News has a line that hits this home quite nicely. Enough of broken glass, enough so I can eat my dancing feet, which just kind of reads to me as him being stuck in just pure discomfort, and he's just had enough of it. He wants to have some kind of fulfillment and satisfaction for a change. Some other musical standouts include the songs The Axe and Impossible Knots, the former of which has this really thin guitar line that kind of creeps on into the mix really eerily. It just sends shivers down my spine every time it comes on. I love the way Tom is just sort of crying out these lines of just like betrayal and disappointment. From what I can tell, he's talking to the digital age. Maybe I'm way the fuck off there, I don't know. And Impossible Knots has some really nifty bass lines and vocal sampling, but it's easily the song that I think leaves the smallest impression on me, despite it being still a very carefully put together and enjoyable track, and it does lead quite nicely into the closer. I think it's the track that stands the least effectively on its own, right next to the song Last I Heard, which features the vaguest lyrics on the album, or the most Thom Yorke lyrics I've heard on a Thom Yorke song. The track just kind of lacks much of a fulfilling climax, really, and I feel like there are a million songs written like this. However, the final track is another absolute fucking stunner. This track I think makes the most use of live instruments than any other track here, but somehow it still manages to feel the most alien and strange to me. Thom Yorke's robotic, high-pitched voice repeating those lines about who your real friends are. It gives the track an added layer of haunted worry and paranoia. It makes the song feel super creepy, and that kind of fear factor is only enhanced when these piano lines pop in that sound very horror movie-esque. And the strings on this track are super intimidating, and the way he uses his voice and sort of repeats it throughout the song with this like it just works so perfectly as sort of a foundation for the rest of the track to sit on top of, and just carries the song so effectively, I think. So overall, yeah! What the fuck? This is dope. I found this to be really engaging. I thought it was quite a journey. Has plenty of super exciting moments that I always get excited to listen to every time I hit play. There are a couple tracks that kind of lack much in the way of individuality maybe, and get a bit lost in the kind of hypnotic and repetitive C they build, like with the track Last I Heard, for example. But I do still think every track here plays a pretty significant role in contributing to the greater experience that Anima offers. I'm feeling an 8 out of fucking 10. An 8 out of fucking 10. Bitches, you hear me? It's an 8 song. Thom Yorke came through. Thom Yorke came through. Yeah, I recommend you hear it. I think it's pretty dank, and I'm a go. That's the end. That's the end. Bye!